did stay right here on this armature right here. Oh, shit. The shenanigans in 2024 still continue. Ripple effects from COVID to lack of customer service to businesses that say they can do what they say they can do, but really can't do what they say they can do, leaving us as builders in a bind. This is the story in short, but with a little bit of detail. I took the alternator and starter, as you probably know them before, the custom Moore maple, which is Egyptian Druzy maple color. These are the same units, look absolutely like crap now. I needed to have them refinished in a matte black, semi or eggshell black with a gloss black to kind of give that variance. And this company said they could do it, CNS. They said they could do it in a week. It's been 4 weeks. I go to pick the units up, and this is what they look like. Before and after pictures right there in front of you. How they look when I dropped them off, how they look when I picked them up, absolutely garbage. Nothing that we can put in this build and be happy about. So I've called several places. Powder coat places will powder coat them, but they need somebody to disassemble them. And it's kind of hard right now in this time to find a starter generator shop to disassemble these units for some reason. I don't know what may be taking place in the industry or in that niche of automotive, but they're not as abundant as they used to be. The company that I had do the units before is no longer in business, or at least probably no longer working in the capacity to take the business. So we're gonna have to teach ourselves how to do it. So I've had a rough road with this build, okay? I've dealt with several companies, several businesses that just lack, and it's everybody. I still have reviews to do on businesses that suck ass to let you all know so you don't do business with them. But that is one thing that's making the build a bit more unpleasant. Still enjoying doing what I want to do. Big shout out to companies and businesses like MPC. Big shout out to ABP. There's going to be less names on the car. This is not a sponsored car. And companies that do business with me but don't give a discount or don't give a break, even if I ask or don't ask, but then after the product's done, they want me to tag them on a post on my page which advertises for them. Don't do that shit. Don't do it. We'll talk about that later. So we're going to get into trying to tear this starter apart. I've pretty much taken on the attitude that if it doesn't work, fuck it. I'm going to order a new one and I'm going to start again. And in the process of ordering a new one, I'll try to find another generator shop that will take it apart properly and then take it to powder coater. So let's just go ahead and get started because I've already got the mentality that I'm just going to go for it. And whatever happens, they split this. So I'm going to bring you all in closer. Let's get some tools. Let's get this bad boy apart. Enough fucking talking. Let's get to work. All right, so as I start, I'm going to go ahead and take the terminal off of here with the blue boot. And this goes to the armature. So I'm going to remove that out of here. I'm going to take these two bolts out, which will get the main body of the motor assembly off of the starter. But you have to get these two bolts out to pull that all the way out. That will help dislodge that whole plate that you see right there in half. Be careful not to lose this spring. You're definitely going to need that. I don't know if that comes in a rebuild kit or not. So you definitely don't want to misplace that. Then you notice that this doesn't come out, so be careful of these needle bearings for this gear assembly. Put those there. There's a slight bit of grease in there, and we'll take this bearing off of the front of the armature, being sure not to lose that. Get you a pair of vice grips to hold onto the armature as you pass that cap out. There may be a spring washer in there, so be sure. I didn't see one, but I'll look for it later. Now we're going to remove the backing plate off of the plunger. This is the part with power where you hear the click. This is the solenoid housing. And I'm going to remove these power terminals, negative and positive, off. One has a lead, one does not. But what I did do is take a Sharpie and mark which one goes in which location so that I didn't swap them out, because I will disassemble this side because I'll need to tape the holes up, whether I'm going to paint it or powder coat it, which I haven't decided yet. After this, we'll remove this section, and prying this bearing out, you can usually get this whole assembly out, and that's pretty much it. All right, so we finally got this thing pretty much completely apart. Now, this is my first time doing this. I already ripped one of the O-rings that seals this cap keeps water from getting in there. Now, of course, I have a couple of options. I could say I'm not worried about this O-ring, then becomes the question of fitment, but also water intrusion protection. Since I don't drive the car in the rain, I don't wash the engine bay, I'm not really concerned about it, but what I am going to still try to do is see if I can find this O-ring and a starter rebuild kit, because it might very well come in one, and then I'll just go ahead and get the whole kit. And if I need to replace any of these components that can be replaceable via a real rebuild kit, I'll do that. A couple of little areas I ran into some problems with are getting in here and getting that bearing out of this area right here. It didn't really want to come out. I question if the starter generator shop lost the spring washer that typically does go in here, so I'm going to do some research on that. But that bearing did stay right here on this armature right here. Oh, shit. Okay, well, the armature right here. So the armature, that's not a big deal because the brushes are still in place, which we'll need to go ahead and just take care of that then. But the brushes will be in place due to polarity when we put it back into the field, which is right here. And I did mark the way this sits in here for those brushes so that the field will be correct. So I will also have to go ahead and powder coat this. So not so much worried about this one powder coating, but I'm gonna do my best to tape all of this up and seal it. And then what I'm going to do is, since they ripped this up, I'm going to get some heat shrink and heat shrink this, reheat shrink this, and this will be black. Besides for this bottom part, I'm gonna do my best to clean that up. So this will get powder coated as well. Now I do have a couple of options. I could say skip powder coat, correct? And skipping powder coat means I will do a paint job on it. That would be the easier way. And the reason I say that is because when you get to powder coat, I've got to bust all of this down to bare metal, which means I have to bead blast it. And the bead blast media is very difficult. It is very difficult to get bead blast media. Keep it from getting everywhere, okay? To keep it from getting area. Pieces like this I'm not concerned about because it's wide open. I can put it in a parts washer, get all of that stuff out, cool. Pieces like this, a bit more concerned. You got electronic components. The what is this? The plunger goes in here to initiate that gear. So that's a bit more concerning because if you get bead blast in there and you can't get it out, that will cause a fitment issue. So I'm gonna have to decide, do I wanna paint it? Do I wanna bead blast it? What am I gonna do? Of course, powder coat looks the best. Let's just keep it real. Powder coat looks the best, but I might actually paint it, okay? Because one, the motor's not going through an extreme a lot. I've already got a black base on here. Okay, so I can kind of scuff it up, repaint it, and that'll give me a bit more of coating to keep from any type of scratches happening and then having to repaint it. Now, keep in mind, even if you get powder coat, you can still get scratches. So, but powder coat is more durable, of course. It covers a little bit better because of the magnetization, but I don't want to go ahead and make it difficult on myself. And I can go ahead and do everything here. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards painting this, which will keep me from getting a lot of stuff in areas. I can tape it up real good, get the paint, semi-black for this. And these parts right here, I'm likely gonna try to clean them up as best I can and see how good this gloss black still looks, because these are the only two pieces that are gloss black. And I'm just gonna run with that. Now the cap right here, I might even go gloss black on this cap because it's off and I can do it. So giving me the ability to paint this definitely gives me more opportunity to be a little bit more personalized. This plunger right here, I'm likely going to just go ahead and push that plunger out. That plunger will come out of there, and then I don't have to worry about that, and I can go ahead and get all this in here, which they really didn't get. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it looks like they pretty much even just painted this. So bead blasting this is not even a problem. The problem with bead blasting comes with this portion right here and this portion right here. So I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. Also, you have to keep in mind when you powder coat things, you got to put it in temp. So we're talking about 300, 350 degrees of temp. These components should stand up to that, but who knows? And it's kind of like taking the chance of them being exposed and standing up to that heat internally. I'm gonna decide I'm gonna see how it goes, but as you see right now, you see how to basically take apart a B series starter. Haven't really seen many videos of a B series starter being disassembled. Hopefully this kind of helps you. Wasn't the best because it's my first time, your first time watching me, so it's first time for you and I. And I'm gonna come back when it's time to reassemble this and go from there. Now, I do also have an alternator, but I'm not gonna front. The alternator, as bad as this is, what I might do is see how to just take this pulley off and just go ahead and paint this gloss black, or tape off the pulley and the bolt and paint it all gloss black, keeping all of this protected, and then the starter would just roll like that. The alternator would just roll like that. I might just roll like that with the alternator and just go from there. So it's not gonna be exact, it's not gonna be perfect, but at this point in the game, we're trying to minimize a lot of expenditures on not insignificant, but smaller projects like this, and parts that aren't so eye-grabbing. The alternator will be eye-grabbing, but imagine this when the gold hardware gets on there. It's gonna look just fine. So I'm gonna find a way to just pretty much do the pulley again and let the alternator roll, cutting down my exposure to part failure. I'm already prepared if I don't do this correct and this starter doesn't work, because I want to take it to get tested after we reassemble it, to buy another starter and start over. This is part of learning the game, but once I learn this, then it'd pretty much be good, and maybe I end up doing your starter for you. So with that being said, this is another episode. We got to try to find another O-ring. I'm going to look for a rebuild kit. Also, I don't like the fact that this is blue. I'm gonna hope that maybe in a rebuild kit or another all starter, I can find this in black. And if I can, I'll get that starter and replace this boot with a black boot instead of that blue boot. The blue boot looks fucking sus. All right, y'all, so stay tuned. The build is going slowly but surely. Just build it. Peace. Thanks for tuning in and watching another video here at Wolfpack Performance. Check out some of my other content on Formula One issues, our topics, and our DIY products on how to customize your vehicle. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.